And I ain't hit no drop in a minute. No, I'm about my business.
Rappers Gap Podcast, episode 37.
37.
This is your host, Diggy
Bailz Pagliacci.
And today we have a special episode. We're on the phone with Kohreydasavior on Instagram, on TikTok, on literally everything. Kohrey is a marketing manager that runs his own agency.
Yes.
And he's down in Atlanta. And we were just, before we started recording, we were talking about how Atlanta is kind of the hub right now for hip hop. And so you're going to get some words from someone that's really in the middle of it. This guy is really there. You know what I mean? He's on the ground level of it.
Yep.
And yeah, man, it's beautiful to have you on. Kohrey, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate y'all for having me.
So I saw you comment on one of our TikTok videos, and I went straight to your page and I checked out your videos, and I didn't realize how in tune you were and how much you were also putting out. Now, with me and Bailz, our reasoning is that I feel like there's not enough people that are just giving out free game. I feel like everyone in this industry wants to charge people, and I'm cool with that. I understand that. But at the same time, I feel like we all come from the struggles. So it's like, why is it such a necessary thing to charge these kids so much? You feel me?
Yeah, I got you.
What exactly makes you want to go out there and just kind of drop gems? Being that you also run a marketing agency and you're kind like that's part of your job. So what makes you want to go online and like give out free information?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, it didn't always start like that. So I would say that mentality kind of came once I started making YouTube videos, and my business partner convinced me to start making YouTube videos. And I would say, like, I mean, early on, the biggest advantage of it was being able to just like get my ideas out there, you know, and just like I would have these things that I thought would work in marketing that like I wasn't 100% sure on, and I would talk about it, and then somebody would do it, and then like, bro, I did that shit you said, and it worked. And so it was honestly in the beginning like more of an ego thing, like, oh shit, okay, cool, like I have these ideas, and clearly it works. Let me just keep telling people, and somebody's gonna do it. The cloud is gonna come back, and I'll get my "I told you so" point. Now I do it for a little bit of the same reasons. You know, I would say to anybody out there who like wants to get into like, you know, any type of like, I don't know, music industry sales space, or you're selling some type of service, to do it, because like it prepares you for like the random shit you're gonna get asked from like clients and potential clients, right? Like, which is the great thing about like TikTok and Instagram and stuff, is like you meet so many of these kids who are just getting started. Or sometimes they'll ask some shit. I'm like, man, I really never thought about that before. Let me take like a day or two to think about it, and then I come up with an answer. And then next thing you know, I hear the exact same question on like a meeting with somebody or in like a consultation or something. So, but now I do it too, man, just because like I'm in the space of selling information. You know, like I have courses, we have the agency services and stuff, and like there's certain information that I think that like people need to know for them to even like get themselves to the level to where like I even want to work with them. You know, like just be real. Because I mean I've been very honest about it on my platform. Where I feel like I don't have any intentions on like helping every single artist personally. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put my hands on every single artist and help them. But if I can give you a piece of advice that changes the way you think about something, and then you take that mentality, you run with it for the next year and a half, and then you build yourself up into the ideal client, and like yo, I'm cool with that. You know, I'm perfectly fine with that. And then a lot of it too is like playing the long game. You know, like when I first got started, I was a really big fan of like Gary Vee. And like a lot of the stuff that he used to talk about was like, yo, that he was just kind of like planting these seeds and content. And he like, bro, like, if you really think you're going to be in business forever, then you have to trust and believe that like your future client 5 years from now might be watching one of your videos, right? So I look at it like that. Like, man, there could be a 15-year-old that watches a video of me talking about Facebook ads, and then that becomes the thing that like motivates him to stay inspired, or her to stay inspired, and they go build his career. And then, you know, they 5 years go by, and they're 20, 21, they have a little bit of success, or, you know, they got some bread or something. Like the first person they're going to think about that they want to work with is me. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be like, oh, I want to go. And I've had people tell me that, bro, like as soon as I got a bag or I got this situation, I had to come work with you, because like I had to come put in time with this person who I felt like provided me so much value and so much gain. So, I mean, part of it is honestly like a long-term business play. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the information I give is information that like, that, oh, my bad, y'all. Somebody was trying to get my attention. But the information, give me a second, y'all. Somebody was trying to wake me down.
I got you.
Nah, but it's also interesting that he did say, I kind of ran across Kohrey when I was initially on YouTube learning how to do music marketing and Facebook ads. And I did come across the BrandMan Network. And they was giving out free game. And it was also interesting to see, because it was like, most of the time when I seen somebody that was doing something for Facebook advertisements, they didn't look exactly like me. So seeing
Yeah.
that, looking at them and I was like, okay, they look like me. So I could probably get, gain a little bit more from them just because, once again, they look like
What are
me.
you trying to say, bro?
Hey man, all I'm trying to say is sometimes it's always good to get some information from somebody that looks like you.
Nah, I'm just playing.
No, but
The one thing that I do understand is that even though I'm Hispanic, the one thing that I get is that I'm in a space that I'm also a guest. Hispanics have been around from the jump with
Yeah.
hip hop, but I still walk into a room and I know that I'm a guest in that room.
Of course. Yeah.
And,
yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
not one of those people that feels like I'm entitled to the same thing. Like if you're building this house and I come in, that doesn't mean that I'm automatically entitled to the house you're building.
Exactly.
Right? So I get
Yeah.
what you're saying. And I think that the problem is I feel like not enough people feel like they're capable. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like it takes a lot of, it's really an easy feat to like take a bunch of equipment, set your room up and start just like your own show.
Mhm.
It's not a difficult task, but for some reason I feel like people think too much about it before they actually go into doing it. So then you
Yeah.
have a bunch of dudes who just like had the money and they go out and do it. And most of the time it's like producers or engineers.
Yeah.
Like it's not a lot of like artists who are going out and actually like starting the shows up and doing that. And I feel like that's what our show brings is the perspective of artists.
Mhm.
I feel like Kohrey, let me ask you this. And by the way, you mentioned a bunch of the questions I have for you. You literally were just outlining
Exactly.
word for word. I'm talking about like the words that I'm actually using. You were saying. So I'm gonna run off a bunch of questions right after this. But let me ask
Okay.
you: were you an artist at any point?
I mean, so like a long time ago, bro. Like, I feel like everybody in the music industry had a start in like trying to do something in music, or at
Mhm.
least executive wise, where like they tried to do music and then like it didn't work, and then that pushed them into something else. So like a long ass time ago, bro. Like high school, I tried to be a rapper, and then like late high school to like early college years, I was actually like producing, like I was like making like beats and stuff. And the thing that kind of like pushed me out of that was I remember like my sophomore of college, I had like this raggedy ass like Dell laptop that I had since I was like 17. Like one day I was just like, I don't know, me and my roommate came out from like a party and I was like fucked up, and I jumped on my bed and like the laptop flipped off the bed and like hit the wall and like some movie shit and like broke. And like, at the time I didn't have money to get a new laptop, and thus ended, you know what I'm saying, my producer's dreams, you know. So
That's crazy.
so I like, so kind of, man, you know, like I that's what got me into it, was like I wanted to do music really early on. I mean, like I was telling y'all before the call, like I grew up in a very small city, like a really, really, really like country ass town. And so like there weren't a lot of people for me to kind of like look to as like, you know, idols and shit in music. But I had a couple people around me. Like we had I mean, like one of our like clubs in that city was like this one hole in the wall club. Like every rapper who would come through Atlanta would come through. Like I mean, like everybody. I saw like Young Thug when he first was popping up. I
Oh,
saw
that's
like
crazy.
shit, people y'all might even remember, bro, like Rich Homie Quan, like,
Oh, I
course.
man,
remember
like,
Rich
all,
Homie.
like, yeah, but like all these artists that like were popping when I was in like high school and shit, like would come through, and so like I knew the DJ there because his son was cousins with one of my cousins. You know what I'm saying? So like me and the son were like really cool, and then I would be like, bro, like, can you just like introduce me to your dad? And so like, your dad is like one of the most popping DJs in like in like a 40-mile radius, which is nowhere where I'm at, but it's big to high school me, you know, because he's like the closest person to it. So like, and we won him over just off at the time, like I had rap dreams, and we were trying to convince the DJ to like let us perform. Like I can't remember who the fuck was coming. I think it was like Travis Porter or some shit. And we was like, bro, let's
Damn.
open up Travis Porter, bro. We like 15, 16, like, bro, like let us do it. And he let us do it on some like, yo, you fuck with my son shit. I probably against his better judgment. And like that was my first time ever performing, and like that was the day I knew I didn't want to be a rapper. Cause like literally being on stage in front of all those people, I was like, nah, I don't want to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Isn't that the worst feeling in the world, bro? Me as a rapper, bro, I've never gotten comfortable with the stage. I've been on stages a million times, and it still feels like the first time to me. And it's
It's
like,
scary, bro. It's scary.
bro, it's like my body. It's not even me necessarily that's like so bothered by it. It's more like my body telling me like this is not what you're supposed to be doing right now.
We're not supposed to be here right now.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. And so I look at it like that too, like, bro, like performing would tell you if you're really built for it. Because
Right.
like if you hop on that stage and like you just don't have it in you, bro, it's like, you know, not to tell you can't do it, because there are a lot of artists out there who are successful who don't like to tour and perform, but it's like, you know, shows for most fans are like the pinnacle of artist support. You know, it's like ideally like your music enough that one day I go drop $60 to $200 on your tickets. They're like, if I don't fuck with you there, I almost feel like why am I investing the time in you as a fan, right? So like,
That's true.
I wasn't thinking of it like that back then. Back then it was just pure like, yo, like I'm scared of shit. Because there was a lot of people there, but like I said, this was like Travis Porter was coming up, but like they weren't like no small guys. It was maybe like 300, 400 people in that club. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that shit was like, man, like if I keep doing what I say I want to do, eventually I'm going to have to keep doing this over and over and over and over, and I don't want to do this. You know what I'm saying? I don't want. So it's like at that point it was like, why even continue doing it if I know that the end goal is going to be something that either I'm not going to want to do and it's going to scare me off from doing it the right way, or I'm going to, you know, I guess worst case scenario, build myself up into that position where I have to do it, and I'm going to be miserable because I have to do it. You know, like me looking back on it could just be me being like angsty as a teenager, and maybe I would have like, you know, talked myself out and been more comfortable with it. But at the moment, I was like, nah, fuck that. I don't want to do this shit ever again. The dude that I rap with at the time, like he loved that shit, and like he was all for it. Like he was very much so like, yo, that shit was fire. I remember the conversation after the show was he was going like, yo, that shit was hard. And I was like, man, I don't know, man. Like I'm still kind of nervous. My hand is still shaking and shit. You know what I'm saying? I had terrible stage presence. I didn't know how to hold a mic, bro. So like that to me let me know like, okay, this wasn't for me. And then like I said, I fell back into producing for a while because like producing was like, to me, it's the opposite. You could be in your room working on some shit. You ain't got to talk to nobody. You ain't got to deal with nobody. Once you pass that shit off to the artist that you selling it to or whatever, then it's like that shit is whatever happens from now is like completely in their power, right? Their control. I ain't got nothing to do with that. So that was what attracted me to it the most. And then like as I started just doing like other like random shit in the music industry, I started to like fall more in love with the behind the scenes stuff. One because I learned very early on that like it's the people behind the scenes that usually like on average make more money, right? Like you have your artists, like your one-off artists, like maybe make more money than like some label people who will ever make in their life. But on average, the average music industry executive worker behind the scenes person makes more money than the average music artist, right? So
yeah, but
like,
that's something. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to chime in on that. That's something that, you know, we try to talk about on this podcast sometimes because a lot of people look at being an artist as like instantly I'm going to get money, without realizing that usually the people that's behind the scenes is the one that's really making the money because they're getting the cuts of what everything else the artist is doing.
I'll also tell you the difference. Like an artist can become rich, but like the executives are quite often wealthy. And there's a big difference between being rich and wealthy. Rich is you have money for a short time period. You might have gotten money. It's like being a running back in the NFL. Like there's a 5-year window where you have time to pull in that bread. But these executives, they've been around since the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now into 2020s, and they're still making money. You know what I mean? So like people don't want to be, see, this is my thing. Like, yo, you sound exactly like me. And I've had this conversation with artists where I say like being on stage teaches me that that's not really what I want to do for a career. And it's weird to hear someone else say it because every time I say it around artists, they're like, nah, you just got to shake that off. Nah, this and that. And to me, it's like, no. I don't think you're understanding. My body is telling me, bro, this is not for you. You know what I mean? And I think that sometimes you just have to listen to your body. Like, I think that the reason that we don't go into the fucking woods and get mauled by wolves is because we listen to our body's instincts. And our body doesn't just apply to like dangerous scenarios. It also applies to a scenario of discomfort where it's like, bro, this is not for you. Like this, and the reason why I know that it's just not for me in particular is that I've been on stages with people who are wild comfortable. You see them on stage and they're walking around dancing and doing all this shit. And I'm like, that motherfucker's made for this. Clear contrast.
I mean, I think that's a real conversation too. Like that's a part of the reason I was like, why I like giving the game out on like social media and shit is because like I really do genuinely think that majority of people who say they want to be music artists don't really want to be music artists.
We just said that last week.
Like they think it because like I mean the average artist isn't like really telling you like all the like back end shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I always talk about this. Where it's like my biggest pet peeve for like a long ass time would be like interviews with bigger artists where they be like, bro, like you know you're so successful and you're doing X Y Z and like what did it take for you to get there? And they're like, man, like bro, you know like. Shit, I was just like doing me, and it's like, bro, that's such bullshit because, like, bro, like, tell them about the all the money you had to spend before this shit worked, right? Tell them about like all the back end logistical shit you had to figure out to get the music heard, like
all the asses you had to kiss, all the fuck shit that you had to do. You know what I mean?
All the depressing nights you had to will yourself through, right? Like that's the stuff that like doesn't get talked about enough, and stuff that like every job has like pains that come with it, right? And it's like there are ones that like I feel like you have to go through as an artist. Like your first pain is like the pain of like figuring out people like your music. You know what I'm saying? Like that's to me the first hurdle for every artist out there, because every artist, at least early artists, like especially young ones, like, man, I don't know if people will like it. It's like, bro, like, because you haven't told anybody it exists. Like, shut up. You know what I'm saying? You'll be all right, bro. Like, put it out. If it really sucks, people will let you know. But if you haven't done the work to see if it really sucks yet, then like, I don't want to hear none of that shit. The second hurdle, in my opinion, is the show thing. Like I said, that to me is really big. And I think a lot of artists, you can figure that shit out early on. Because like, if you're in a major to like mid-market city, like you can get on like shows, underground shows somewhere pretty easy. Worst case scenario, you could throw your own show, get like 50 people you know to show up, and then that shit will tell you, right? And then the third hurdle, in my opinion, is like the money part. Like once you start to understand like where money comes from in the industry and how to make it, and you see it, right? Because everybody's playing the exact same game. From Drake to the motherfucker that's deciding he wants to start music today. At least from like streaming and how money's made. And it's like, and some people, they see the returns on stuff and they're like, man, this shit is crazy. Is this what it's going to be like? It's like, yes, like this is exactly what it's going to be like.
I try to tell the people all the time, like the streaming numbers don't matter. That the money not really there. It's not. That's not where it's at. It's everything else.
And like it's like, and the reality of it is like being a music artist today is like being an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? Because like so many artists look at like the old industry and like that's what they fetishize. Like, bro, I want to just be like the artist. And like, I mean, one, the industry doesn't work that way anymore. Even for like in order to get like that type of treatment, you have to be like a priority. You know what I'm saying? Well, like they're just gonna let you just like sit the fuck back and only make music and do appearances and shit. Like,
no, flagship acts. You have to be a flagship act.
Yeah. Like other than that, man, like every other artist I know that's signed to a label or some type of situation, there's some part of their business operation they have to run themselves. Whether they are their own marketing team, they're their own branding team, they're their own publicity agency, they're their own content creation team. Every single artist I know has to run their part. And then that is now the new step of being a music artist. Like you have to be a business person. And like a lot of times I've seen like that be the thing that discourages artists. Is like they go like, man, I don't want to be a business person. I want to only make music. And it's like, okay, that's cool. You have to work yourself into that position, but like that isn't going to be a real thing for you early on unless you just already know people that can help you. Like I have artists who like I have artist friends. You know what I'm saying? So like those artist friends have an advantage of like they need marketing advice. They can call me, right? They have a different playing card that most other music artists may have. If you're an artist who doesn't have the same type of card, then yeah, you gotta like go take out 6 months to a year to learn how to market your own shit and then build yourself in a position where maybe your numbers are enough to like you either have the money to hire somebody like me or you naturally attract somebody around you that now wants to do that for you, whether they be like a fan or like a friend or something like that, right? And it's like that part and that sticking it out until that shit starts to happen is typically the part that I see knock most people off the pedestal and take people out the race. And it's like I've worked with a lot of artists over these last years I've been doing music, and I've met people every year of my life. I'm like, bro, if you stuck it out, I think you'll be successful. And then most of them don't stick it out.
100%.
That's what it is. Yep.
Bro, I think that the artists that like, because we have the same situation up in Jersey where I've run a studio and I feel like a lot of the artists that come through, I'm constantly giving them pointers. I'm constantly giving them game. And I don't think that they understand the value behind that game. Like there's people making a entire living out of just that game. You know what I mean? And so when we have artist friends, it's difficult for them to comprehend that like what I just gave you is worth thousands, if not more. You know what I mean? Yeah. If not more. And I feel like because they're our friends, they don't see that the value in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's difficult being in that place because at some point it feels like, especially when they don't use it, it feels like, bro, like you're just wasting money. Like you're wasting time. You know what I mean? And time is a valuable currency. And I don't think a lot of people get that. Man,
some of it too is perception, man. Like that's been the biggest thing I've learned. Then the marketers are like, because I have like, you know, clients and their managers and stuff like, bro, like, can you tell the artists they need to be posting on Instagram like 3 times a week? And I'll be like, yo, artists, like, post on Instagram 3 times a week. And they'll jump on it because it's like me, right? They're like, okay, this marketer must know what he's talking about. My manager doesn't know shit, right? So a large part of it is that, man. And sometimes it's just like they haven't seen enough to understand like what you're saying. Because I've had people in my life before where I've given them advice and told them to do something. They're like, oh, man, you don't know what you're talking about. Especially like when I first started doing marketing. Like I have people now who like listen to me that wouldn't listen to me years ago. It's actually funny. I have a client right now that I remember trying to get as a client years ago. Like his manager probably doesn't remember, but I remember his manager just like shit on me. And like now he's a client. It's like, bro, like I'm the same person I was then.
That's what it's like.
You just believe me now. You didn't believe me back then. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you know, I think like that part ends up being like a huge thing for artists. Is just like you have to see enough for the information to hit. Well, like I mean, a great example. I had a meeting with one of my clients the other day, and like this is like I mean, honestly, I don't like to pick favorites, but this is like one of my favorite clients. Like for just a number of reasons. Like his music is great team. You know what I'm saying? He's a cool guy. Like we met each other in real life. Like we great. And like we were talking the other day, and he was saying like he has another artist homie that is like a priority of the label now. And he was like, yeah, man, like he was telling me they're dropping like 70, 80K a month on digital. I'm like, yeah, but that's what I've been telling you forever is that like, yo, like the budgets that we're doing are like great. You know what I'm saying? Like they're great. Like a little amount of money, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, but the level that you keep saying that you want to do things at, that is what I've been trying to tell you for the whole year. And it took him having that conversation with somebody he knew in that situation to then come at me and go like, okay, now I get what you've been saying for the last couple months. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but I wasn't saying to discourage you. I'm telling you that so that you have realistic expectations of what you're giving us. You know
that's exactly what we try to push is that we're not saying any of this for discouragement. It's all for encouragement, but how you perceive it is definitely on you. Now, let me ask you a question because you mentioned a big budget, right?
What, 70, 80K?
All right, so realistically, for an independent artist at home, what would you say a realistic budget is to actually get their name out there? Not just scratch the surface. I'm talking about actually getting their name out there to where they can have a successful career.
I mean, so like, I'll say this, like that's hard to say because I've seen different things happen at different budget levels. So like, for example, one of my best case scenario clients, I got her fan base for, I think my price was much lower than. So I think she spent maybe $1,000 with us, and I mean we spent maybe 600 of it, and like within that $600 she had a fan base. Like it was a very noticeable difference in like what was going on before what wasn't happening. So I'll say this is I think and she was in a unique situation where like she called us early on. We weren't nearly as expensive as we are now. You know what I'm saying? We were like very much so trying to like prove ourselves. So like we go to every campaign now like 110%, but like I was at that shit like 250% because I was like, bro, like I think she was maybe my first like $1,000 client. I was like, no, I gotta like show her like, yo, this shit gonna be fire. You know what I'm saying? But so I'll say this. I think that if you know what you're doing and you're running your own marketing, you could get a fan base for like I think minimum like $300 to $700 a month. Like I think if you're spending $500 a month on Instagram ads, you know what you're doing. Like that shit will go a long way. Now, realistically, I think every artist should build themselves to the point where they have at least $1,000 to $2,000 a month in a marketing budget. And this is once again assuming like you're the one doing it. If you're not doing it, then you got 3 executives. Then you got to pay people to do it, and then plus whatever they're spending to do it. You know what I'm saying? So like our biggest draw, like yo, if you pay me $3K, some of that's going into my pockets. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's a career.
Yeah, you got to
exactly
make your shit off the back end. I'm glad you said that though, because like 500 a month is kind of like what for me when I run my advertisements. I'm sitting around like $500 to like $600 a month that I try to put in, but you know I'll get to that 2,000-3,000 a month eventually. Because when you said he was doing what 60, like 70K a month, one of your artist friends, I'm like, God damn! But that's
No, that wasn't me. That was an artist client. His artist friend. His label is spending.
Oh, that's a label. That's a label.
I might say, damn.
Yeah.
That's label money.
Bro, nobody got $80K a month by themselves.
Man, and it gets crazier than that, man. Like I have one of my good friends is like one of my best friends is like a manager, and like he manages another really good friend of mine that's an artist that's like really going up in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Like so, because of him, I've been able to be a part of some interesting conversations. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, and so. I remember when I went with him to LA, he was having a meeting with this one like A&R rep who's like trying to get him to sign his artist. And I remember the artist was like, the A&R rep was trying to like win him over off of like marketing budget. And she was like, yo, so like, what's your digital spending going to be like? And he's like, man, you know, like, we're going to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got some offers on the table. Like, he's the artist is making money now. Like, we're going to figure it out. And she's like, okay, I mean, so well, I'm going to say like, let's say best case scenario, what y'all gonna spend with 10K a month on digital? And he's like, yeah, you know, like, yeah, that's the game plan. And she's like, bro, like, we have artists right now that we're spending 6 figures a month. Like, I won't say the artist, but like, she broke artists like, yo, cause I remember like, I peeked up and I was like, she's like, yo, we spend, you know how much money this artist is spending on digital? And I was like, how much? And she's like, you know, a lot. I'm like, nah, I would have, cause if I could say the artist, like, I could say the artist, like, y'all would be like, oh yeah, duh. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, like, duh, she's spending a lot, but like, how much? And she's like, a lot. I'm like, no, but like, what's a lot? And she's like, well, I can't give you the exact number, but like multiple 6 figures a month just on digital. Like, so that's just ads. That's maybe influencers. That's not including TV appearances, radio, press, none of that shit. That's literally just ads, 6 figures a month. So like, that's why I try to tell artists, bro, like, and it goes back to expectation management. Like, you can go a long way with a little if you know what you're doing with it. You just have to like learn how to manage your expectations. Cause like, I mean, like you said, bro, $500 a month. Man, I look at it as if you get an ad running. Let's just say you're running in the U.S. and like you get an ad that you just is doing great, like amazing. Let's just say 50 cent cost per click, right? Like something like that. Like you get a 50 cent cost per click, that's what? $1. That's what? 2 fans for every dollar spent. So you're getting 1,000 fans off of potential fans off of a $500 budget, right? And let's say out of 1,000 potential fans that convert, like 200-300 of them like really become fans of you. Like that shit goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? Like
No, it
100%.
definitely does.
way.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
noticed it and
You know
I've seen it. Yeah, it definitely do.
Yeah. And so the thing that I usually, or I won't say usually, because this is like a recent like preaching of mine. Y'all maybe seen some videos about it where like I think a large part of like the number of like how big of a budget to make an impact comes from like just most artists don't understand like marketing in general, right? Like marketing is a thing that like you're supposed to do even when you're not making money. You know what I'm saying? Because ideally the attention from it is what generates the interest around you that eventually makes you the money back. So there's that one. It's usually marketing is usually like of any business is like one of the most sunk costs, right? Like yo, even McDonald's is putting out millions of dollars in marketing that they don't necessarily expect to make back because they understand that the next 5 to 20, if I can convince this 7-year-old today that McDonald's is a happy-go-lucky place, and in 20 years he grows up and takes his kids to McDonald's and they think the same shit, then that money I spent all those years ago to acquire that person was worth it. Most artists don't think of it that way because they can't see past.
Yeah, they want everything instant.
Instantly, exactly. And sometimes it's because they're not educated enough to see beyond like what they see. So there's that part of it, and then a lot of that stems from the average artist or the average person that's doing marketing looks at marketing as just like number requirement. You know what I'm saying? Like how many views did I get? How many streams did I get? You know what I'm saying? Whereas like I've over the last couple of years started to train myself like, bro, like every impression, every click, every view is a real person. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's not just
real
a number.
motherfucker. A real person saw your Facebook ad and was like, yo, I fuck with this shit. And like you would never, if a person in real life walked up to you and was like, yo, bro, I just heard you on this set and your music was fire. I fuck with you. You would never go like, oh, this performance wasn't worth it because I only got one fan. Like you would be hyped. You'd be like, oh shit, somebody at this show actually fuck with me. Ideally I'll keep them here forever and they go into it. And I think like enough doesn't come around marketing because it's all number based, right? So I've literally had people in the campaigns where I'm excited, bro. I'm like, bro, this ad did so great. And you had a 40 cent cost per click in the US. That shit is wild, but you don't even understand. Which they don't understand how wild it is. Wild because they're not running ads. So they're like, man, is that even good? Like, bro, what is that good, bro? Like, come on, man, let me show you some shit. He's like, bro, you got this 40 cent cost per click. You doing a back end conversion rate of 70-80%. I mean, we got you, you know what I'm saying? We got you 6,000 new fans off of this $4,000 budget you gave us. And then they're like, man, but I feel like I should have got more. It's like, wow. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I should have. Like, but where are you coming from with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what makes you think you should have got more? Like, give me some reasons and I can tell you why that may be happening for you in that instance or why you shouldn't be thinking that way. And then I will always think like, bro, like this is 4,000 people that said they like you. If each of these persons spent $1 on you right now, you would make your money back. You know what I'm saying? But like they're not viewing it the same way. They're wondering like, why didn't I get 100,000 views? Why didn't I get 20,000 streams? Why didn't I get whatever? So like a large part of marketing, I think success in marketing is like you work with whatever you have to work with. Because especially with fan base building, it's a lot more about momentum building. You know, like, and I even tell people this is like, there are going to be things that you do today in your marketing that won't even have an effect on you for like 5 or 6 months. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and you have to be okay with that because if you're not okay with that, you're going to feel like you're wasting your money in the short term. If you're okay with that, then you will will it out long enough to start to see the fruits of your labor, right? So like, I had an example where we had a client we're working with now. We were working with this guy for like last like year and a half, like 2 years in. A couple of days ago, we were getting like him some shout outs on like some Instagram pages. And like somebody commented underneath the post was like, bro, I've been seeing this dude's ads for like the last like year and a half. It's so nice to see this dude getting recognition from you, like you being like the page that he got posted on. And I was like, man, it's fine because like, I mean, one that validates that the ad is being seen, right? Like I didn't make him go say that. But then two, it's like, you know, like that's something that like he felt compelled to say that after months and months of consuming this artist brand, like consuming his marketing and consuming the stuff he's been doing. He didn't feel compelled to say that 6 months ago when we first started running the ads, right? So like, and then I even think about like, you know, like other campaigns I've had where fans will start to generate momentum off of stuff that we did months ago, right? Maybe we tried a TikTok campaign that didn't take off in the short term, but then we check on it 5-6 months later and like fans are kind of taking it and ran with it. And they're doing things that kept it going that like we couldn't have mapped around 5 or 6 months ago because the artist wasn't like engaged enough in like his fan base to make that happen, right? So like you have to be okay with it. You have to understand like, yo, these are real people. As long as you understand, like, yo, everything you do is getting in front of real people, and this is how they're responding to it. And like, you technically will never have a bad marketing campaign. You can have underperforming marketing campaigns, you know what I'm saying? But like, you should ideally never have a bad marketing campaign because you should have learned something from that. And then ideally, if the music or the content is good enough, somebody converted out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may not have been as much as the previous single you ran because of different reasons, but somebody converted out of that, right? Which is now you can take the information from the person that does like it learn more about them. Like, who are you? Why do you like it? And where do you hang out? How can I get more of you? And then you can build on top of that, and that will make your marketing successful long term. It's only unsuccessful if you didn't learn shit from it or you didn't get the result that you want. And that's how I look at marketing. Like, if I tick off every box that I had planned before the campaign started, there's nothing that the artist can tell me to say this campaign was unsuccessful. I've had meetings like before, they're like, bro, I don't feel like it went well. I said, well, I disagree with you because of these reasons right here. Like, look at these
X,
numbers.
Y, and Z.
And it sounds like
X, Y.
It sounds like it's more like, and like how you said, like the expectations, and this is you probably like found a missing link when it comes to artists not taking marketing seriously. Because once again, it's that expectation. Like, I'm supposed to blow up overnight. If I give you the set amount of money, I'm expecting to have all millions of fans like running after me, coming up to me in a supermarket and all that. Not realizing that it may take like 6 months to a year, even sometimes up to 2 years of successful marketing for it to come back to you and actually for you to see those results. And like you said before, it's like, you know, we looking at it just as numbers, but we're not really looking at it as there's people there behind those numbers. And like, there's actual people that's listening and, you know, they may be doing their own things behind the scenes as far as, you know, a TikTok video that may blow up like 6 months, a year later that, you know, from a song that was a campaign from, you know, all the way back then, but now they're starting to build momentum from the initial thing.
You know what, Bailz? Like, not to cut you off, but like, the thing is, some artists will never be the artists that people are running up to in a supermarket. Like, there are some artists that are extremely successful in the game that could still go to a restaurant and no one knows who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
Yo, it's about what you're in it for. Like, are you in it for money? Are you in it for fame? What are you trying to do? If your goal is to have a bunch of people running after you, then your marketing has to be next level. Because for someone who's just happy, you know, making $70K a year, $80K a year off their music and not having to work a job, their goals are a lot different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're
definitely
not looking to be all in the mix. Like, if I was to go anywhere as an artist, I wouldn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, me either.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to just be able to go out and enjoy myself without being mobbed by people. And I think that's the weird shit. Like, maybe when you're younger, I feel like a lot of young artists want that fame. Once you get a little bit older, I feel like that fame isn't the goal that you need.
Yeah, like, I want nobody looking at my business.
Right.
Like, I don't want none of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's another part of it too, is like you said, man, like, what does success look like for the artist? Because I tell artists, bro, like, you know, if you stick it out, everything you want to do is possible. You just have to understand, like, the cost that it takes to do what you want to do, right? So, like, if you were telling me you want to be the superstar household name, you have to understand that it's a very expensive game to play, because that's about becoming famous. Fame is random and fame is expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to be real. And then, but it's like, if you want to be a successful music artist, which if you judge success by, there are people who like my music and I can make some money off of that. It's like, yeah, bro, you can get that without doing all the other shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like you said, like, I have clients. I had a meeting with one of my clients the other day. We were about to start positioning him in a way where he can start making money back from the stuff we've been doing. And on the call, I remember he was like, man, like, no, thank y'all for helping me. Like, I'd be happy if y'all help me make shit $500 a month. I'm like, $500 a month, bro. No, you're shooting too low, bro. We shooting for at least $3,000, $5,000 this month. You know what I'm saying? But it's like shit, like, he said it, but he's like, but if I was making $500 a month off my music, currently where I'm at right now, I would be happy with that because I've never made that type of money back off my music, right? So to him, $500 a month would be successful. I have other clients, if we made them $500 a month, bro, they would
fire
kill
you.
us. Yeah, they would fire us, bro. Exactly, bro. Like, because their measure of success is different than because of other things they've been through. So, and it's like I said earlier, man, I genuinely believe that, like, if you're an artist starting at ground zero, your first, like, measures of success should be, do people like my music, right? Have you found fans? Even if it's like 3, right? Because that, to me, triggers the part of your brain that tells you, like, oh, this shit is possible, right? It's like, if this person likes my music, clearly there has to be other people out here who like it, statistically speaking. So that's the first goal for every artist, bro. Do people like your music? The second goal to me is, have you made some money back? If you have not crossed those 2 goals, almost everything else, in my opinion, is irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a little bit of money, if you hit your first month, you only got 10,000 streams, you made about like $6. It's like, okay, it's not a lot, but like, you made money back. That's going to trigger something. That's going to say, like, oh shit, okay, if I do this shit, you know what I'm saying, 100 more times, I'll make back $600. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw the work it took me to get here. Now I just need to amp it up. You know what I'm saying? 5x maybe, and I'll get there in this amount of time. So like, those to me are like goals that trigger like psychological things in art, right? Like being able to, and I've literally seen it happen with artists. Like, they'll start a campaign talking and acting one way, and then by the end of it, they're talking and acting different because they've seen people like the music and people are fans of them. And then beyond that, that's when I think you start planning out like your individual goals, because at that point, you probably identify how much work it takes to get what you want to get, and then you're probably now starting to enter the conversation where you're trying to hire like music industry professionals, and then you're starting to understand like how much it costs to get shit done, which to me is the third big goal every artist needs to get to. Is you need to put yourself in a position where people will talk to you open and honestly, so you can start to understand how much shit costs. Because if you don't understand how much shit costs, you will never know how much it's going to cost you to move forward, and then you'll never have a goal to shoot for. You know, so like if somebody would tell you like, bro, you want to hire this marketing agency for 6 months, it's going to be $20K. You want to hire this publicist for 6 months, it's going to be $25K. And if you want to hire this director that you think is so fire because he made all your favorite rappers' videos, he's gonna quote you $60K for it. Now you know, or if you to do the shit you want to do, it's gonna be 100 to 120K. Now you got a number to shoot for, right? Now if you look at your bank account, like, damn, I only got 10K. All right, cool, bro. Now you gotta downplay your expectations for a little bit, build to that point, but at least now you have a goal. And then when you do have that money to make it, now you can navigate that shit a lot more differently. Because I think a large part of just issues with smaller artists growing is like that they don't understand the cost to get certain shit done. So like, I think the biggest finesse ever in the music industry is the higher level of the industry convinces everyone that like everything has been done our favors and just I fuck with you, and that's not the case at all. Like even if like I've sent invoices to people I like. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nothing personal. It's just like, bro, like I like eat too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gotta eat at the end of the day.
Yeah, bro, exactly. So it's like, but that, in my opinion, with younger artists is always the biggest. Like they're almost like offended by like, damn, bro, I paid you $3K. Why does it say only spent $2K? It's like, bro, you got to pay me. Like, what do you mean? Why I spend? Like,
right, that's what we all talk. We talk about that all the time. Artists think that usually things are just so buddy. Dig mentioned it numerous times. Like, you know, everybody think that people doing verses for free and that they just like, oh, let's just be best friends. But it's like, no, money's always behind that. Because you just don't see it.
Yeah, the thing is, like a lot of artists don't pay the bill. Like it's their label that's paying the bill for them. It's part of their budget. Yeah. So it's like, it's not coming directly out of the artist's pocket. So there's no like bad feelings, but that label is getting billed. There's going to be an invoice at that label for the artist's verse. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're not understanding is like, they think because, yo, if he charged me $5K for a verse, I wouldn't even fuck with him. Right. But like, it's not coming out of his pocket.
Nope.
It is on the back end, but it's not coming out of his pocket up front. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what they don't get. So yeah, there's no bad feelings because it's not him that's really feeling it. You don't feel money when it's not yours.
That's facts.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like, man, I look at like, sometimes like you have to like people enough to even want to take their money. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll tell you, bro, like just like I'm lucky enough to have worked myself in a position where I don't feel the need to take on every single campaign that's thrown my way. You know what I'm saying? Because like I've learned just like, one, like there's always an opportunity cost. Like, could I be spending this time focusing on something that's gonna make me a lot more money, right? And then sometimes, like I said earlier, but I don't have the desire to work with every artist, bro. Because some artists are annoying as fuck.
We were actually going to ask you that. Like, what was your ideal client, or like, what does an ideal artist look like to you that wants to work with you? What would they have to bring to the table, like initially?
Yeah, man. So I would say like I like artists who have like a content creator work ethic. Because, like, at least a lot of, like, my biggest success stories as an agency have all come from artists who, like, have content creator work. Like, they make amazing content. They're, like, always working their socials. They almost move like an influencer, you know what I'm saying, that does music rather than, like, the traditional music artist who doesn't, like, do it. So, like, I love working with those because it makes it to where, like, we don't have to stay boxed in if something isn't going well, which is, like, I'm cheap, bro. So, like, if I have to spend money on some shit that's not working, like, I feel it, like, I hurt like it's my money. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, bro, like, it's all you got. So, content creator work ethic. I mean, budget, of course, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in a position where it's like, bro, like, if you can't do it, I feel for you, I get it, I empathize, but I'm not about to get up and do it. Has a good team around them in whatever capacity, because, like, you know, every artist shouldn't be handling their own business. I'll say that. You know,
yeah,
like,
I definitely understand that,
And it helps sometimes when, like, there's a person that, like, is removed enough from it, like, they can make, like, and not to say, like, I have some artists where, like, I talk to them more than I talk to their managers. So it's not always, like, all clients. But, like, a good majority of clients, like, definitely need, like, people running stuff for them. So I usually like working with people that have a team because having a team signifies a lot to me. Like, if one says, like, there are people around you who like you enough that they want to continue working with you. You know what I'm saying? It also says to me, like, you're probably going to be, like, a lot of shit I say to you isn't going to be foreign. So if I tell you, like, hey, bro, check your calendar invite for the Zoom link for the meeting on Wednesday. That's not going to sound foreign because you've probably been in 1,000 different team meetings with, like, your other team people, right? So, like, that shit, you already know how to navigate that shit. And then I would say, like, now, man, I like working with artists who have at least done, like, their own form of marketing in some degree because then they understand certain things, right? So, like, if I have a conversation about, like, why something went well, like, they at least understand it, even if they don't, like, completely get it the way I do, but because they've done it to some capacity. Like, if I go and say, hey, bro, like, yo, 40 cent cost of living in the U.S., you like, shit, that's great, right? Because you've done it. You get it. You've seen it before. So if I would come to you in the car and be like, yo, bro, like, yo, we got this shit down to 40 cents cost a click, you would be hyped. You know what I'm saying? I've had people who would be like, they're not happy with that because they don't get why that's such a good thing.
Yeah, they want 10
like,
cents and they don't understand that's impossible.
Yeah, bro, it's like, bro, this is the U.S., bro. You should be happy this shit was $1.50.
The U.S., yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that shit like $1.05 usually, $2, $3 sometimes for a click.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. So I like artists that are there. And then, I mean, like, so, like, as we kind of, like, grown in advance, I've started to move towards favoring artists who already, like, working with artists who already have a fan base. Because, I mean, just to be real, it's easier to market someone with a fan base than someone that doesn't have a fan base.
No,
for a bunch of different reasons. Like, I mean, one, just being, like, awareness and how much certain things cost, but then two, just like even like the belief, like the mindset, you know what I'm saying? Like someone that is already in the game thinks about it differently than someone who is like just starting out, you know what I'm saying? Because they haven't been through enough shit yet. So that was probably the biggest thing I would say is like, you know, the content, budget, you know, team, certain mentality. Like I have questions that I ask people who are doing like initial calls, like I can immediately tell how they think about certain things by the way they answer a question, right? And they'll say a thing, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like that's a red flag, bro. Like I've seen you before. You know, so I've seen you before 100 times over, and every time I've gone against my inner feeling and worked with someone that was like you, it didn't go well. I'm gonna turn this down, bro. Like I'm sorry, man. Like no.
And that's good on your end. That's good on your end that you could like turn down certain artists now. It's like, you know, understand, like I've seen you before, because like, you know, we all are unique individuals, but for the most part, usually we have like the same traits and qualities.
Artists group in together, bro. I've worked with trap artists that exactly like another trap artist. I've worked with the boom bap artist who's exactly like the other one. A lot of artists group in together and they don't realize, like they're very cliquey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say too, like my favorite. Like recently, my favorite type of artists to work with are like non-US artists.
Yeah,
I was actually going to ask you that because I mean I heard you mention you know, you guys normally do you guys normally market to the US, or do you guys like focus more outside of the US?
No, man, we focus on wherever. So like, I personally like focusing more on like international markets because it's cheaper. Usually like the audience is like the fans, bro, in other countries like react so differently. Because when I tell people about like really the U.S., but then like any major market, Canada, UK, Japan, like those really big markets, like everybody's going out there. Like the music industry is like so like bougie in these places because like there's no shortage of like music artists. Like
we
it's oversaturated.
Yeah, we've seen it all at this point.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Like exactly. So it's like you're not giving up your attention the same way as a fan in India is who isn't used to being marketed to this way. And like that fan in India is gonna show you love 10x because they feel like, you know, if I don't show this artist that I love them, they may never come here because a lot of American artists don't really tour like that internationally. You know, like you see artists tour internationally, but like you look at the majority of like artists, most of them don't tour internationally. You know what I'm saying? Like let's be real, you know. So it's like they feel like, bro, like I have to show this artist so much love that he is willing to pay for this $2,500 ticket. You know what I'm saying? To come out here and do this show in this foreign land. So I've seen like the love for international artists just be like, or international fans be crazy. And the reason I like working with like artists who are non-US based is like their mentality around international marketing is so much different. Like when I talk like one of my like the client I talked about earlier, I said like one of my favorites, like he's an Afrobeats artist. So like he always wants to market to like Nigeria and like South Africa and like the UK and shit. And it's like, and we build him in the US because he has a really large US audience, but like his main markets are not the US. Like, so if we have a campaign and like the US ad is doing like a $3 cost per click, his Nigeria ad is doing amazing, he's happy. You know what I'm saying? Because the US is not in his top market.
Right.
And so I've learned that with artists who are not in the US, like they don't view the US the same way that US based artists.
Yeah.
Like, US artists view like the US is like, if I don't pop here,
I'm not gonna be able to pop anywhere.
It's not, yeah, and like and that's why I was like, bro, like nah, fuck the US, bro, like Africa. You know
I say the same thing all
Russia.
the time.
You know what I'm saying? And so like that's a large part we like to do it, man. And I'll tell you like one thing that kind of like changed my mentality around it. And I would say like at least like India, right? So I would say like some of my like go-to international markets are like Russia, South Africa, West Africa, India, depending on the type of music, Indonesia, depending on the type of music. And so I used to think like very differently around the music because if you come from a marketing background, you hear like a lot of those countries I just mentioned are looked down upon in the advertising world because they're heavily botted.
Yeah, the bots, right? So like, click farms and all that.
So it's like what made me think differently about that is like I told you I have a homie who's like a manager, and like there was a point where like he used to live in this house out here in Atlanta where like he was like the only like stable roommate. You know what I'm saying? Like his other roommates would be like these random ass like college students who would like just move in and move out. So yeah, like this one, like the last batch of roommates he had were like all these these kids who had came from India on like a I don't know what it's called, like a school study, like the study visa,
study abroad.
Yeah, study abroad.
Yeah, so they were all out here off of that shit. And I remember like one day he was having like a party, and so I was over there and we just like chilling and stuff. And like I was talking to one of his roommates, and his roommate was like, "Bro, like you do music marketing, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can I ask you a real ass question?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" He was like, "Why don't rappers like marketing themselves to India?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, man, like I was noticed, like, you know, like even when I go home, like I don't see a lot of like American rap artists like marketing themselves to India." He's like, "I don't see like ads and stuff for those artists. I don't see like really trying to appeal to like my community." He's like, "Why not? Like I like rap music, like why?" And I was like, "Well, man, you know, it's a stigma behind y'all where it's like, yo, people like it's almost like they treat you like you're not real people, right? Like, oh, these people in India must be bots. You know what I'm saying? It's not this developed nation with millions of people in it. You know what I'm saying? Who
Billions.
also like exactly billions of people who like entertainment shit. And so I had this conversation with him, and he's talking about like, bro, like I like rap music. I love Playboy Cardi and Travis and all that shit. And like, so I'm trying to think like, man, he's right, bro. Like, here's this real person from India, you know what I'm saying, talking to me about how much he wished that people who don't look like him market themselves to him. And I'm over here not doing it because I listen to some marketer who's like, bro, like don't market to India because they're bots. So it's like, bro, there's real people there too, you know what I'm saying? So like if I can get in front of the real people, the bot shit doesn't even matter. So like that conversation with him, plus I would say last year to this year was the biggest influx of non-American artists I've ever worked with, and artists who weren't trying to target like American audiences, and like having conversations with them and then seeing like their mentality around stuff like completely switched up the way I view marketing to the US and international marketing in general. So like typically when I am pushing clients, if they tell me that like their target market is one of the big five, like it's US, UK, Canada, Japan. There's one more I'm missing. I think maybe Australia. Whatever those. If it's one of those, I'd be like, okay, bro, like maybe we should pad this out with like some Brazilian traffic or like some Russian traffic or like some German traffic or something, because like that shit is going to be expensive for one, and then two, it's not going to go like you think it's think it's going to go.
Nah,
you know definitely.
Because that budget runs out real quick. They don't get that, like depending on the amount of clicks or cost per click, that budget runs out real quick. So you have to get as much as you can for the worth of what you're actually spending. And I think that the artists who want like a US fan base, they don't understand $500 in the US is not $500 in India.
Nah,
it's two completely different things.
Well, $500 in India might damn near make you a superstar, right? With the right ad, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and a lot of that too, man. I always tell, this is what I start saying to like clients and stuff on calls and stuff, that start having people argue with me. Is I always be like, all right, bro, like what is your end goal of this? Like this, not just this campaign, but like the end goal of what you're doing. And then, you know, usually I give you some shit, bro. I want to be a big artist. I want to be successful, whatever. I'm like, all right, right. So what you're telling me is that you want to be a big superstar, which means at some point you're going to have to go internationally based anyway, because all the big superstars have fan bases, huge fan bases in like random ass countries you've probably never ever been to. I'm like, all right, so that's the first goal. I'm like, I'm assuming your second goal is to make money as a music artist, right? Which any sane person is like, yeah, of course I want to make money as an artist. Like, this is what I'm doing. Maybe it's not the main reason you do it, but it's at least top three. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I'll say then, like, okay, if a fan in the US buys a T-shirt and a fan in India buys that same T-shirt, that money's gonna feel exactly the same when it hits your bank account.
Just shipping costs. Shipping costs are the one disaster when it comes to selling merch outside of the country. That's the only thing. Like,
I mean, yeah, but you don't. But you don't have to worry about that. That's the fan. That's the fan looking at that. And yeah, exactly. Like, they're gonna look and go like, okay, damn, it's gonna be an extra $35 to get this shit here.
Right.
Fuck it. I love them so much. I'm gonna spend. Like, that's the decision. Like, you let the fan make.
That's when you know. That's when you got a fan.
Like, that's what I've learned in business, bro. Like, you don't tell yourself no. You let the customer tell you no. If the customer tells you no enough times, then you change your price. If one person tells you no, that doesn't mean shit. So that means that you hit the wrong person, right? But like, so that's why I said, like, bro, if you're selling this shit, like, and even that, man, there's so many things like fans could sell or artists could sell to fans. But like during the pandemic, we saw like live stream shows become really popular, right? And like live stream shows are things that can be attended by anybody in the world. So artists that have these large international fan bases were able to take advantage of it in ways that artists who didn't have large international fan bases weren't, because of one, just the sheer amount of people they could market themselves to, and for the cost that they could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, but if I had $500 pushing you to Brazil, that's just gonna go a long ass way compared to $500 pushing you in the US or Canada, unless you get like lucky. Or like one of the best ads I've ever ran in the US. I have two ads I always talk about. Like, I had one ad when I first started running Facebook ads that got down to a 5-cent cost per click in the US.
Ooh.
And to this day, I am salty about it because the artist didn't want to keep running the ad because one, he was overwhelmed by the traffic that was coming in. And then two, he started to feel like the song was like corny. Like he felt like people thought the song was corny. I'm like, bro, this ad is doing 5 cents.
5 cents in the U.S.?
In the U.S., bro.
It's crazy for stopping that.
I've never to this day gotten an ad as cheap as that. Like never. Like so I think about that shit at least once a month. Every time I look at every time I look at my new best US, I'm like, damn, we got this one down to like 22 cents. Damn, that shit still ain't 5 cents though. Damn, and I'll go like, it's funny because I'll go look at that artist and like see what he's currently doing. He's not doing anything, bro, and it pisses me off so much. So it's like that, and then my second best ever US ad, we got down to like a 10-cent cost per click in the US, but this was for an artist that had like a really big feature on. Like he had a feature with like a really big artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think a large part of the cost is just like people recognize the artist in the video. You know what I'm saying? Which goes, that's what I said earlier about it's easier to market people with fan bases than it is people without fan bases, because some people would just click because they recognize you. You know
but here's the thing though. People, I don't think people understand that even when you blow up, you still market. I think that people think you're only marketing until you blow up, and they don't get that there's a marketing budget for Drake. You know what I mean? Like, bro, the biggest artists in the world have a big marketing budget, and they're spending more than you, and they're already well known. So it's like that never ends. You know what I mean?
And some of it too is realizing like what marketing is, because there are things that bigger artists do that, like if you don't train yourself to have a marketer brain, you won't realize that marketing to you. You know what I'm saying? So like, like one thing that we do is like, so like, I mean, I'm sure y'all have seen like the blog pages on Instagram, like the rap pages that post posts about music and stuff, like blogs and shit, right? So like one thing that we'll do is like we'll do these posts that we call like we call them like association like narrative posts, where like let's say I have an artist that makes like R&B music or something, right? And I'll make a post in a thread that'll be like, yo, who had the best toxic song of the summer? And I might pay like @rap to post, and it'll be like Brent Faiyaz, you know what I'm saying, Frank Ocean, you know what I'm saying, maybe like Justin Bieber, and then like my client in it, right? And so like if you're a fan looking on the outside, you don't think it's marketing because you just think it's a regular like carousel post. Like, this is this page promoting music that like I see Brent Faiyaz, I see Frank, whatever. But that is 100% a marketing tactic. You know what I'm saying? It's me trying to get you to think about this artist in the same conversation as these other artists I'm presenting to you. Another thing that like you don't really recognize as marketing until like you're really in this shit is like when you see pages like a DJ Academics or @rap post like, I don't know, Drake just bought like a new mansion. You know what I'm saying? Drake just dropped $3.5 million on a new mansion. Like that is marketing. Drake is trying to keep his name in the conversation around something that's not music related, which is what we tell artists, but like everything can't always be about music. Sometimes it has to be lifestyle shit, right? So like you may look at this page and post and like, oh, DJ Academics is covering Drake because he's Drake. But then me as a marketer, like I'm suspicious of everything, but I assume everything is a marketing tactic. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it gets me, sometimes it doesn't, because I already expect it going into it. But like there are things that like artists do, like you look at it like, oh, they're just doing it because they're big. It's like, no, but they're marketing to you. Like they're doing things. But like Lil Nas X is a perfect example. Lil Nas X makes memes, bro. He's like commenting on everything. He's doing like these viral drops, bro. He's doing like live. He's on his Instagram live and his TikTok live like 4 or 5 times a week. He's doing all this shit that like I would tell an artist with no fans to do, and like he's not doing it because he now has millions of fans. You know what I'm saying? He like you said, you have to continue doing it because like there's marketing for 2 different reasons. There's marketing to grow and there's marketing to sustain. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like in order to keep where you're at, you have to produce a certain amount of marketing because people naturally get bored with you, and then like you have to bring new people in to make up for that, or even just remind people that you exist. And then there's marketing to grow by. Like I got 1,000 fans this year. Next year, I want to grow by at least 10%. I want to come out next year with at least 1,100 new fans or something like that, right? So it's like, and you have to decide which of those are you doing, because if you're not marketing to sustain or grow, you're probably decreasing. You know what I'm saying? You're probably falling off, which isn't always like the worst thing. Depends on like where you're at in your career and like how much it is affecting you, like what you got going on. But like that is the reality of it. That doesn't matter. That's across the board. Like I got an artist on me that was doing 1.8 million monthly listeners a month 4 or 5 months ago. He was on this big marketing push for his album he dropped. Now he maybe does a cool $800K to $900K a month without marketing, you know what I'm saying? Which is great for him, because he can do that without marketing himself. But he knows that if he wants to get back to that 1.8 or higher, he's going to have to go back to doing
that
what
money
he's
back
doing.
in.
Yeah, exactly. Start putting the money back in. Exactly. So like he gets that. He understands that. He's fine with only doing 900K right now because he doesn't feel like marketing. He wants to just go make music and chill and hang with his family.
I'll be fine with that too.
Yeah, but he understands like, yo, if I want to get back to this level and higher, I've already seen the work it takes to do that. Now I know I got to do that at least 2-3x fold, you know what I'm saying, and get back to that. So it's like, it's like, but that's how, it's like I said earlier, but like marketing is technically a thing like you're supposed to be doing all the time. Like every business everywhere is marketing 24/7.
Constantly.
365, 12 months a year. it's only in music where it's not happening because the average music artist doesn't have the budget to afford to market themselves.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. They do have the budget. Like, bro, you could put $5 a week and you're still doing more than 90% of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's the issue, is like they think that you have to spend astronomical money just to build some type of audience. But the realistic thing is you could drop pennies and you could still get a couple fans. You know what I mean? Like, yo, by staying stagnant and not putting any money behind ads, just because you feel like you don't have enough money, you're not going to grow. So it's like you're actually killing yourself by not, because yo, these same dudes have the budget for weed. They have the budget for cigarettes. They have the budget for drinks on the weekend. They have the budget for everything.
For lazy
but when
too.
it comes to dropping $20 a week, or comes to dropping $50 a week, all of a sudden that's too expensive. And that's the confusing part. And that's why, like last week we had an episode where we said, like, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, do I actually want this shit? And the realistic answer for a lot of people is, no, I don't actually want this shit. And you have to be real with yourself. Mm-hmm. Just like me and you were real with ourselves when we hopped off the stage, these people have to be real with themselves about their career. Like, bro, if you don't see this as a career, then just stop, or just do it as a hobby. But why are you dropping music on all these different platforms if you're just trying to do it as a hobby? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think too, some of it, like, you know, it's probably because of, I mean, people like me, other marketers, bro, like, marketing is all this thing where, like, you have to spend money, but it's like if I go post a video on TikTok, like, that's me marketing myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%,
I don't always do it with the intention to market myself, but I'm not stupid. I know that somebody's gonna look at me like, oh, that's a pretty smart dude.
Right.
I should reach out to him and like, you know, see if he charges for these things that he's talking about. So like, a lot of times, like, artists don't view that the same way. It's like, bro, if you go live to like play Call of Duty with your fans, and like one new person just happened to be, I don't know, found you for some random shit you were doing, and he found you and he hopped in your live and was like, man, this dude seems like a cool guy. I'm gonna go follow him and check out his music. That was you marketing yourself. You know, you didn't feel like you were marketing.
Yeah, we talked about that in the previous episode. We said that you got to do things outside the music, and sometimes doing those things, whether you know how to cook, exercise, you know, advice, any of those things that could, like, you find somebody that goes, oh, I like this person for just being them. Oh, they also do music? I like to listen to music. Let me go check that out as well.
Bro,
like,
from the podcast, I've gained so many fans of the music just because I'm doing a podcast on a weekly basis. They fuck with me personally. So then they go, it's natural for them to go and listen to the music and be like, yo, I also fuck with the music. But they would have never found the music if I wasn't doing the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So about putting yourself out there.
Let me ask you a question real quick. All right, so I'm an artist with terrible music, right? And I have $100,000, and I come to you and I say, hey, I have $100,000 to spend, but you listen to my music and it's fucking terrible. How do you go about that?
All right, man. So I do it like this. Well, I'll say this first, is right. So what I've had to train myself over the last 2 years as a marketer is to realize that, like, sometimes there's music that I don't like that will be successful even if I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I've had campaigns, like, some of my best clients were clients that, like, if it had been up to me, we would not have taken them on. Right. And then like we do it. I'm like, oh shit, like, I think this is bad, but there are all these people in the comments saying like, yo, I love it, I like it, whatever. So if I, like, genuinely think the music is bad, but let's say they have, like, really high quality visuals, they have really high quality content, maybe they're like a charming artist, like there's something else about them I think will win people over, like, I'll still do it, you know what I'm saying? Because music is subjective, bro, and I've seen people take to music that is bad because other people don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it with my own eyes, bro. But people, it'd be so many comments and on the post, like, bashing the artist, and there'd be one person like, bro, y'all are tripping. This isn't even that bad. It's that they're the outlier right there. I'm like, okay. And I really do believe, like, yo, if one person likes the music, it means 100 people like it. If 100 people like it, it means 1,000 like it. If 1,000 likes it, 10,000 people like it, and so on. I really do believe that. So I look at it like that. If they have bad music but other redeeming qualities, I'll take them on.
Yeah,
because I realize, like, it may not be.
We definitely mentioned that before with, like, you know, sometimes it's kind of hard for artists to really understand, like, yo, it's just not about having talent and just being good at making music. You can make good music, and you may make better music than a lot of people that's, like, put on or more established than you, but they have everything else within in their artistry, as far as visuals, as far as being able to market themselves and present themselves in a way where people just, you know, naturally gravitate towards them. And it's like, that part is always hard for artists to really comprehend and understand. It's like, yo, it's just not about your music. It just, honestly, it isn't. It never probably was since the beginning of the time, honestly.
Yeah, bro. And it's like I look at, like, Blueface is one of the best examples. Like, so many people shit on his music. I personally like his music, so I'm not in that boat. But so many people shit on his music, bro, but it's like Blueface is such a like charismatic guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's very like personable. Like he knows how to do interviews really well. Like he knows how to like engage crowds. Like he does so many other things like really well that like even if you don't like his music, like you can understand like why people are won over by him, right? And like you said, a lot of artists don't understand that. It's like, bro, like music is really like 10% of the equation. Like there's so many other things you gotta figure out to get people to focus you because there isn't a shortage. Like I know people who make good music that y'all probably never heard of. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course.
Y'all probably know people that make good music that I've never heard of, right? It is what it is because they haven't figured out the other 99 things that have to be done.
Yeah.
But then to answer the other question, man, if it's an artist that like I really don't like their music and I don't think we can do anything for them, like I'll turn it down. Like I have turned it down. Like one of the like it's funny you say like literally when me and my business partner first started the agency, maybe within like 4 months we got an offer like that where it was like this guy who like just I don't know what the fuck he did, but he was paid as fuck. And he had a $100K budget. He had this video that he had just shot that he maybe draw like a $250,000 on. And like this dude had money, bro. Like he was so paid, but like the music was like so bad. Like it was so bad. And then the things that he expected from that $100,000 were things that like I just knew like I was not one. I didn't want to like give him that type of access to us for like the amount of time he would have bought it for from us. You know what I'm saying? Because $100K is not. You can't just like even if I tried, I couldn't wipe somebody off for $100K in like a month, 2 months. You know what I'm saying? Like that was minimum in my head at least be like 4 or 5 months of having to deal with that person. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's like that was probably at that time one of the hardest decisions that we ever made because at that point we had never had a client approach us with that type of budget, and we had just thought we was maybe 5 months in business, so it's not like we were making like really making any money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but like we had like this long ass like hour and a half meeting where like me and my business partner like went through like the music he sent to us. We went through all the stuff he put out. We went through all his socials, and we was like, bro, like, is there anything about this that makes us feel like it could be worth it? And everything pointed to no.
And that's great to hear though, because it ain't always about the money, and it's good that y'all was able to sit there and like really go through it. It was like, you know what, this could be potentially some good money, a good payout for us, but at the same time, we're trying to build something in the long run, and we not really want to be responsible for this, and it could take away. Say you did have, took the 100,000, you had to focus all on that one client. You may have missed the potential clients that you had as you were building up that actually made it for your success as of today. So that is also good to see. Because I know a lot of marketers probably just go straight for the bag. It's like, oh, whatever, we'll take your money, we'll just do whatever the case may be. But, it's always good to see that there's people within the industry that do have some type of integrity and also looking out for themselves more so than just looking out for their pockets.
Yeah, man, it's like, because I've learned, but like, all money isn't good money, and like, Facts. I mean, like, there's sometimes like, because I have to always remind myself, like, I am building a business, so at the end of the day, sometimes I have to remove like personal feelings aside and like personal emotion shit, but like, bro, like when an artist like really annoys me or like really pisses me off, bro, like there's no amount of money they can offer me to like get me over that. Cause it's like, bro, like there's nothing you can give me that has like made like I've done campaigns with people before, and then just been annoyed the whole like couple of weeks we've been doing it, and then they're like, oh yeah, this was great. How do we renew? And it's like, oh, we don't.
Right.
You sound just like Dig. Dig is the same way.
As an engineer, I do the same shit. There's some artists that they paid lovely, bro. Every other day they wanted to come to the studio, but the way that they acted in the studio just wasn't for me. So rather than spend my life in a studio with somebody every other day that's paying lovely but is fucking annoying, I'd rather just not take the money. Like that's the beauty of running your own business. Like, bro, if I was working for a studio, it's not my choice at that point. Like my boss is going to tell me, yo, you're taking that session. When you run your own business, I could turn down as many clients as I want. At the end of the day, I'm fucking myself. I'm not fucking the company. You know what I mean? Like, but I could deal with that if it means that I'll be more comfortable living. You know what I mean?
Peace of mind mean everything.
Yeah. All right. So bro. I want one more question that's like really important. Because I feel like me and Bailz are always talking about Facebook, Instagram, and like YouTube ads. I know that those are probably the top ways, but what would you say is another way that we're maybe missing on this podcast that people could advertise themselves?
I mean, so every social media platform has an ad program. Snapchat has one, Reddit, Pinterest, Twitch has ads. They're expensive, but they have it. You know what I'm saying? So I would say like that, like as you get better at understanding like how ads work in general, like start to explore other advertising platforms that you may just feel like your fans are on, because like, the great thing about ads is that like one, they're never going anywhere. Like advertising has been here long before me and you even knew what the fuck it was.
Right, we just have access to it now.
Exactly. And then the concept are the same on every platform, right? So it's like no matter what advertising platform you use, it's clicks, it's impressions, it's frequency, it's cost per conversions, it's views, it's whatever the fuck ever. The difference between every every platform is that the culture of the platform demands a different type of content for the ad to work. That's the only difference. You know what I'm saying? Like other than that, TikTok ads work exactly like Facebook ads. They work exactly like YouTube ads. Other than like technical setup. So any ad platform, I would say, and then so I'll say this, man. Like our marketing philosophy revolves heavy around advertising, influencer marketing to certain degrees, and then like content creation. Like those are to me like the three pillars of a successful marketing plan. There has to be a constant outflow of content from the artist side. There has to be some type of back end advertisement running, and then you have to use influencers to different degrees because I believe that like influencers are like how you hack in the culture. Right? Like influencers are the voices of the communities that you claim you want to break into. At some point, you got to go through them. You know Whether and like I look at influencers as like actual people influencers, a D'Amelio, a Jenner, you know what I'm saying, right. a TikTok influencer, and then I look at influencers as like spaces that have influencers, so like meme pages, like rap blogs, you know what I'm saying, like a page that like posts about like cats, you know what I'm saying, like that to me is an influencer. So when I say like activating influencers across different degrees, I mean like part of your campaign should be you paying an actual person to do something, and a part of your campaign should be like maybe you go make a meme and then you pay like 10 meme pages to promote that content, you know what I'm saying, it has your music in the background, because like we do that shit a lot, you know what I'm saying, we're like there'd be times where like we're blatantly promoting the artist and it's like, yo, new video just dropped, and it's like on at rap, and it's like, okay, like that's obvious that we're marketing the artist, right? But then like there are campaigns where like, I'm doing one now where we're about to take like some Fortnite clips and then put the music on the background of Fortnite clips and then get a bunch of Fortnite pages to promote the video, promote the clip, right? So if a fan is looking at that, they're probably not going to think it's us marketing the artist. They're going to think it's just like, oh, this music is attached to the Fortnite account. But what's going to happen is that these Fortnite kids are going to share this content because they like it, whereas they would have never shared the music video because they didn't know who the music artist was. And it's going to help get the music out even more, you know what I'm saying, because it's being promoted in a very passive way. So to answer your question, one thing that I think that artists can do that I don't think is done enough is using fan pages on like Instagram. Really any account that has fan pages, but Instagram has the most of them. Like Instagram has the most amount of accounts on like anything, but like using like fan accounts of related artists to promote your music. So if you feel like NBA YoungBoy fans will like your music, there are at least 10 different NBA YoungBoy fan pages on Instagram. I know because I've had to reach out to them before. They all charge money. You can reach out to them and go, hey, bro, will you promote my music on this page? And if NBA YoungBoy, you really think NBA YoungBoy fans will like your music, this is going to be the best way for you to find out, because this page is nothing but NBA YoungBoy fans. You know what I'm saying?
That's smart as shit.
Very smart.
That's smart as shit.
Yeah. And like the benefit of doing that is like you're able to do like really specific targeting in your influencer marketing that is usually you're only able to do with advertising. Like we're used to advertising, man. So like, oh, I want to market to NBA YoungBoy fans. Let me go run a YouTube ad on NBA YoungBoy videos. Or I want to hit NBA YoungBoy fans. I want to go market my IG ads to the NBA YoungBoy keyword. Whereas like you're not typically able to do that with influencer marketing, except in that methodology. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, if it's a fan page of 10,000 fans on this NBA YoungBoy fan, those are 10,000 NBA YoungBoy fans. Doesn't get more pure than that. You know what I'm saying?
That's facts.
Like, you know,
right.
Yeah. So I would say something like that, man. And then, I mean, really that, man, like I would say like, I'll say this, like the road to, or how much you can market yourself and what tactics you can use to market yourself all revolve around the type of content that the artist creates, right? So if an artist only has a music video as their content, that limits what I can do. Okay, I can get you on music pages. I can get you on maybe some fan accounts. I can maybe get you on some more like entertainment, culture, pop culture pages, right? They just talk about like news and shit. But then that's really where like the bar stops. And so I really can't do much more past that because the content wouldn't make sense on anything else to where the marketing will look organic, right? If I put your music video on a cooking page, everybody in the comments is gonna know that you paid for promo because that shit don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying?
And I've seen that on Instagram too, like certain pages, like whether it be an influencer through comedy or just a regular like meme page, like once they start posting music and stuff, those are the things that get the least reactions, the least likes, the least comments, because I think people was like, yeah, I didn't come here for this. You need to do a little bit more subliminally.
Exactly. And fans are stupid, bro. Like fans know what marketing looks like now. Like they get subjected to it every day from the artists they love. It's not new when you do it. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh, I've seen this game before. I just don't fuck with you enough to play this game with you. But like in that same thing, right? Like let's say our artist has a music video and they have a video of them like, I don't know, like cooking or some shit, right? Like them like doing some wild shit in the kitchen. Now that shit opens up what I can do with them because I can take the music video and hit the same pages we talked about earlier. I can take them to the music blogs, the fan pages, and the pop culture accounts. But then now I can also take this cooking video and get a bunch of cooking pages to promote it. You know what I'm saying? Get them to shout the artists out and promote their content. And then now that content is more likely to get viewed on this page because it looks like it makes sense, right? A cooking person is like, yo, what the fuck is this? Oh, he's making a souffle. Oh shit, that's that one rapper. You know what I'm saying? That's fire.
Right.
Like, oh, this is his song in the background. This is pretty cool, right? So now, like, you've opened up what I can do for you because you've given me more content to work with.
Right.
So that's why I said, like, some things honestly don't work until you have the content to make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Or you understand your brand and your audience enough to know what works. So, like, even going back to the arts with the Fortnite shit, the way that we kind of, like, got to the Fortnite idea was we were going through his followers one day. We just done, like, a scrape. And like scrapers, we'll go through like a client's followers and like pick like 10 to 20 like random followers. And then we'll go through all the pages that their followers are following and we'll take notes on like who are they following. So if I see that like all these 10 people that like 6 of them are following a specific Instagram account, I then note to my marketing like, yo, we need to get on this Instagram account because a lot of his fans are following the page. So this particular client, we were going through his fans doing the scrape and we saw that like a good majority of his fans were like following like different like Fortnite accounts. And like I was like, man, I keep seeing this one like Fortnite clip page come up in their followers, and I went and followed the page just to like see if it keeps coming up, and like it did. So I was like, okay, cool. We need to go make some Fortnite content because like this particular artist doesn't game, so like we can't get any gaming content out of him. But like his fans game, right? So it's like, all right, cool. We now need to go make some gaming content that makes sense for this account. So I say that. I say it to say and tell the story to say is like if you understand what your fans are paying attention to, you can then look at the spaces that they're paying attention to. And then you can sometimes just go create content that makes sense for that space and gives you the ability to do that marketing, right? So in his example is like, okay, we can go make a Fortnite clip. That's not hard. Let me just go stream a couple shit real quick, find one I like, and then put the music on the background. And make sure they tag the gamer. So if the gamer comes across the clip, he doesn't get like butthurt about it and like get it taken down, some shit like that. So we can go like, hey bro, like you get some promo too. We pay to promote you, right? So like, but yeah, man, I went off on a tangent, but like, so I would say like, as far as like marketing tactics, I don't see good enough is that, you know what I'm saying? Like, figuring out ways to market your music and your brand in non-music spaces. I don't see that happening enough.
That was a great tangent though, because honestly, I was thinking about it. I was like, that sounded like a deep dive and like really combing through, like looking to see what these followers are following and then seeing like a common interest between a page and then making like rationalization, like this is where we need to kind of send things. Like that's something I would never thought about either.
Kohrey, we don't want to take too much more of your time, so we're going to close this up. I would love to have you on again in the future. I think this was great.
Definitely.
You're beyond genius. I loved everything that you just talked about, and we really appreciate you being on. If you're ever in up top in the north, like come pull up on us and let's do one in person.
Yeah, I got y'all. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't go north too often.
Then we're coming down there.
we'll move down there then. We might come down there.
I'm with it, bro. Y'all already know what's up, man. Like I encourage everybody. Well, Atlanta's getting full, man. So I don't encourage people to move.
Nah, we're not moving. We're just gonna come down and pull up on you.
We in Jersey. We in Jersey. We stay Jersey.
Yeah, we're Jersey boys to the death, but.
Top boys.
Brother, we really appreciate everything that you just said. We appreciate you for being on our platform, and thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate y'all for having me, man. Like, whenever y'all want to do it, bro, just let me know.
Absolutely, bro. Thank you.
Anything else you want to plug in before you go?
Oh, yeah. Tell everyone about Contrabrand. Tell everyone where they could find you.
Yeah, man. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok at Kohreydasavior, KOHREYDASAVIOR. Follow the YouTube channel, BrandMan Network. If you like what you see, you want a little bit more razzle dazzle, you know what I'm saying? Join the BrandMan Network community. I don't think I'll mention it, but it's a course community. We have $17 a month, bro. We teach you everything we know about marketing, you know what I'm saying? Which I feel like is extremely cheap. Because I wanted to charge more for it, but Sean was like, "No, bro, we gotta give it to people."
Yeah, I'm getting them emails. I'm currently subscribed. I'll be getting the emails. I'll be seeing them.
Yeah, bro. So y'all can thank Sean for that because I was pushing for a higher price. But check out BrandMan Network if you want to get deeper into it, man. And then as far as the agency, I would say if you're an artist that fits those criteria, you feel like you wanna do something. Contrabrand.agency, CONTRABRAND.agency. I will say this: I don't know when you're listening to this. If you listen to this anytime, now to the next couple of months, we're not taking clients actually. Like we're like shutting down to like to just do some stuff that we want to do that we didn't have time to focus on this year. So I would somebody gonna get the nod that's gonna reach out after this. I gotta say it, but. Like we are looking at apps, we are keeping people in mind for when we do start back. And like, if you feel like that's you, bro, like come fuck with us because we'll fuck with you.
Yo, thank you so much again, brother.
All right, no problem, man. Y'all enjoy your day. Be safe.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
All right, peace.
Peace out, man. there you have it.
A lot of shit that we always say on this show, you hear it from somebody else's mouth, and it's our first time having a real conversation with him.
I did feel validated from a lot of the stuff he said. Now, me and Bailz don't necessarily consider ourselves music marketers.
No,
we don't run
not.
an agency. We're not getting $100,000 a month from different sources.
Nowhere near.
But a lot, you guys heard it. You know what I mean? A lot of the stuff that we talk about on the regular, Kohrey was just saying the same things that we're telling you guys. So I hope that there was some sort of validation for this show.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that there was some sort of validation for two dudes that are just kind of like figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that was amazing.
It was great.
What are your thoughts on that episode?
Well, number one, I'm gonna hit him up, on the side for my own music ventures. You know how I do with the marketing stuff. But a lot of things he was saying from the marketing side. I'm not a music marketer, but I do love to mess around with the marketing things. And some of the things he was saying is like I never thought of, never really paid any mind to or thought of, especially like going into the Instagram accounts and seeing with the common interest between people, and also. When he said when he mentioned putting India back in, I just started putting India back into my marketing because I was just like, I'm basically, those billions of people over there. If a few bots going to click on me, all right, then whatever. But there's more people that's out there that's going to be really trying to listen to some music. So it was almost everything he was saying. It was just like a light bulb in my head, like, oh, I'm on the right path.
Listen, now I'm not actively trying to be a rapper, but there were parts of that episode that I was like, I might have to.
I might just jump back in the game.
I might have to get back into the rapper space real quick. No, but I really enjoyed that episode. I thought that was great. We have another huge episode coming up for you guys. So we're not going to mention anything. We kind of want to drop it and have you guys just tune in and kind of get surprised.
We working.
Yeah, we're working out here.
We working.
Anything else to say?
Nah, man. I'm just happy. I'm excited that it's like the kickoff of the guest. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like we really getting into the industry now. So I hope you guys are gonna stay along for the ride. We only gonna get bigger and better. You see our equipment looking nice. You know what I'm saying? We got a poster. I got new glasses. we the wave right now, man.
All right, guys. Rappers Guy Podcast. We're signing out. This is Diggy Metro.
Bailz Pagliacci.
Peace out, guys.
One.